the excitement, Craig, you had when Jim Ratcliffe was going to come in and save Manchester United and Ineos and all this? And this is what he's been saying about his manager.
Well, they did beat Sunderland at the weekend.
He has not had the best of seasons.
We're 7 games in. We're 7 games in.
Ruben needs to demonstrate he's a great coach over 3 years. That's where I would be. The press, sometimes I don't understand. They want overnight success. They think it's a light switch. You flick a switch and it's all going to be roses tomorrow. You can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one every week. Let's welcome in, shall we, Don Hutchinson. What world is he living in?
Well, he's living in the one where he's emboldened by beating Sunderland. Because
3 years.
Because if they had lost to Sunderland at the weekend, which they did not, at home, he could not have made that statement. As stupid as that statement is, he could not have made that had they lost at Sunderland. He probably would have had to have sacked him. And he talks about knee-jerk reactions. Isn't it Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, we didn't call it a knee-jerk reaction, but it was a knee-jerk reaction to giving Eric Ten Hag the new contract, then sacking him. Mm-hmm. That's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Ten Hag never got 3 years off the back of the new contract, and rightly so. That's just, these kind of statements are not needed because people can see the big picture. And the big picture is, if he doesn't get results, Ruben Amorim that is, the man making that statement will have to fire him.
So why make that statement in the first place?
That's the point. These statements come back to bite you in the backside. They do. Because he, like everybody else, is in a results-based environment. And if Ruben Amorim doesn't get results, these statements are worth nothing. Zero. Zilch. And that's the game we all watch and have played, is the one, Shaka, where results matter.
I listen, I'm with Craig in that I simply don't understand it. I really don't. To make such a broad, sweeping statement on the back of, albeit one good result against, as you mentioned, Sunderland.
Liverpool off the back of the break.
It really beggars belief. And we aren't talking about one season. We're coming up to a year that Amorim has been in charge. And it has pretty much gone downhill from Ten Hag, who was sacked. And if things do not improve in 12 months under a manager that you deemed not good enough, I'm not sure how you view that, or view his sacking, if it were to come tomorrow for argument's sake, as a knee-jerk reaction. It's justified by those results. I don't understand. I really don't.
What's he blabbering about, Don?
Well, me.
Oh, no, that's standard. That's normal.
Well, who? Radcliffe for the boys.
You're just not a billionaire.
I think what he's trying to do, he's trying to put a bit of water on the fire and to say, listen, give him 3 years, judge him in 3 years. I mean, it was a poor statement. There was no need.
That doesn't happen. Can you imagine Florentino Perez saying, "Well, give Xabi Alonso 3 years, don't worry"?
Dan, I don't agree with you. I'm just thinking why Jim Ratcliffe made the statement. He was just trying to put a bit of water on a fire because he was unfair in bringing Mikel Arteta into the conversation, where he said, well, judge Mikel Arteta in the first couple of years when he finished a couple of eights, but it was Mikel Arteta's very first job in world football. The points and the results speak for themselves. This is a guy that's won 10 games and lost 17. He talks about 3 years. If they had lost against Sunderland last weekend, he would have got sacked. No question whatsoever. The game that they play next is Liverpool. The game after that is Brighton. The game after that is Forest and Spurs. So never mind give him 3 years. Give him the next 4 games. Because if he goes 4 straight losses on the spin, he'll be gone. And he will always be judged on results. Absolutely. The boys are right. Look at Russell Martin at Rangers trying to turn around and say, it's about philosophy. No, it's about winning. And when your record's poor, and when you're one of the worst managers in Man United's history, his own words, and you are in a relegation battle, his own words, and you've took the team worse than what Eric Ten Hag was, which is phenomenal. It strikes me at the minute I'm watching a repeat of when Eric Ten Hag was in charge at Man United. He'll win a game, everything goes a little bit quiet, he'll lose 2 games, Eric Ten Hag, he's back under pressure. It's exactly the same as Amorim now.
I'm just waiting on the statement from Marinakis. saying Big Ange's got 3 years. I mean,
Wow.
he's lucky if he's got 3 hours.
Yes.
But I mean, that is true. I mean, Don just picked up on it as well there. Let's look at this rationally. Had they been thumped, and it was possible, had they been thumped by 2 or 3 goals by the newly promoted team in Sunderland at Old Trafford at the weekend, he'd have been putting a statement out about the dismissal of Ruben Amorim. I'm almost sure of it. And yet, off the back of 1 win, against a team who've started the season well, coming up from the Championship, which they have, but they haven't really played anybody of any note, but they've started well, he feels the need to come out and make a ridiculous statement about a manager who's clearly struggled. He's struggled in all departments. He's struggled to show any life, any desire, any energy on the touchline. He's struggled to put a team on the park that can get results. He's struggled to deal with press conferences properly when he's asked about his systems and all the things that go with it. He's struggled with players who were seen as bad apples. They just sort of sidelined them. He said some ridiculous stuff like I'd play the bus driver before Marcus Rashford. These things are just ridiculous. So to come out and say 3 years, just don't.
I've had enough. ESPN FC is back on your screens tomorrow. Be sure to check it out. 3 years, we'd do well. We'd take that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, well.
Don't judge us today. 3 years.
You just wait.
Don't judge the show. It's a work in progress.
Exactly. We've talked so much about Liverpool over the last few days, of course, rightly so, given the way they've fallen off a cliff really over the last couple of weeks and their stuttering start to their title defence. But let's give some love to Arsenal, shall we, who sit top of the table. They are now favourites to win the Premier League. Don, it just seems to be falling into place for them.
Yeah, I was on comms for the West Ham game last time out.
What difference does that make, Don?
No, they just looked
You're on
immaculate.
comms.
Because they looked immaculate. They looked like Liverpool last season. They had total control in minute 1. You watch them after 5 minutes and you go, it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time before they score. Once they get the second one, it's how many. The bench, he's now got a bench to die for. The 3 midfield players that started the game, he took the 3 off. He then took Calafiori off and put Lewis Skelly on. I mean, the game that they played against West Ham, and it was just perfect. Everyone called Liverpool boring last season by winning games 2, 3 and 4. It's exactly what Arsenal are doing now. They've got total control of nearly every game they played in, and I thought they were phenomenal.
I mean, I bet you can't wait to go back into hospital just so you don't have to listen to Don say, I was on comms for that one. I'm going to pipe that into your hospital room.
Just Don said, I was on comms for that game. I was doing that game.
I did that game in Saudi Arabia. I did that game. I was doing Goals Rush at the weekend.
Okay, so if we look at where there may be a problem going forward, Odegaard's out for a few weeks.
Odegaard's injured again. Eze has come into that position, but he looked okay at Newcastle. Was unlucky not to get on the score sheet. Don talked about the back four. Back four's rock solid. They've got players to come in. They've got good players in the middle of the park. One of the issues they have had has been in the midfield getting the balance right when they've played the 3 midfielders, Zubimendi, Rice and Mikel Merino. So obviously he came in for a bit of criticism on that one and he played Eze at Newcastle. I think Odegaard, when fit, will be back in the team. The one thing that's sort of still sticking out a little bit is their change of style with having a false number 9 or a Kai Havertz up front to having really a traditional number 9, big physical guy who puts himself around in Gyökeres.
Less drop points against teams lower down in the table. I'm still not convinced that he can do it against better opponents, against the Cities and the Liverpools and talking Champions Leagues. But maybe he makes that difference for them in the league, especially when you consider the inconsistency of both Liverpool and Manchester City. That's putting it as nicely as I can. So as of right now, I'm with the bookies and seeing Arsenal as favourites to go on and win the title. I don't see them as doing that at the Champions League level, simply because as they go deeper against better opponents, that's when Gyökeres is found out.
Even the City game, think about the first game, Man United away, it was a bun fight with Matthijs de Ligt. He got nothing. It was his first game. Every ball coming up to him was at his throat. And de Ligt was right in behind him. He got no space. Think about the City game. Normally Man City, even away from home, they're open, they're attacking, there's space in behind. you can get your wide players behind the fullbacks, you get crosses into the box. No. City got their early goal and they basically parked the bus. And so when that scenario happens, Arsenal have to find a way to get better quality into the box when teams are defending deep. Because Gyökeres getting the ball like he did in the Newcastle game, into his feet with 4, 5, 6 defenders around him, midfielders and defenders, that's not his game. His game's, spinning in behind, getting in the box for crosses, and it's something that Arsenal haven't really been doing for the last couple of years because they've had players that have been, pulling it a little bit deeper. They've been about the passing, they've been about Saka, they've been less about crosses into the box, although they've had some success with Moreno, making deep runs from midfield. But now they have an out-and-out front man. And they have to figure out, in games that are tight and when teams are defending deep, how they get the best out of Gyökeres. What can his service is the best service to get the most goals and the best performance out of our number 9 to do the job that he's been brought in for, which is to get them over the line. That's the thing I'm going to be looking for when I'm watching Arsenal.
Don, you've been on the commentary for a number of Arsenal games this season. What did you make of their comments?
Say again, Dan? No, I thought there was green shoots when I watched the Olympiacos game and I watched Martin Ødegaard slide Gyökeres down the side about 4 or 5 times, and he got quoted as being phenomenal in that game, Ødegaard, and he was, because I think they're starting to learn how to play with Gyökeres. As Craig touched on there, the problem for Arsenal with Gyökeres is the majority of teams that play against Arsenal are going to play deep. They're going to play in a low block. So there's not going to be too much room for him to run in behind. Everything's going to then become a little bit shorter for him. So you might be judging a player that's numbers are going to be down this season. But listen, if he scores 10 goals and Arsenal win the league or win the Champions League, he's a success. I wouldn't look at Gyökeres this season and judge him on his numbers. I would judge him on how successful Arsenal are. If they win major trophies and his numbers are down slightly, who cares?
William Saliba opens up on Arsenal frustrations and his mission to win trophies. William Saliba has officially committed his long-term future to Arsenal, signing a new 5-year contract and turning down interest from European giants like Real Madrid. But for the French defender, this decision wasn't just about loyalty, it was about unfinished business. Speaking candidly about his journey so far with the Gunners, Saliba made it clear, he's not satisfied yet. Despite his rising status as one of the Premier League's top centre-backs, he hasn't lifted the kind of silverware that truly defines a legacy. He, Trent Alexander-Arnold, won some titles with Liverpool, Saliba said, when asked why he stayed at Arsenal despite Real Madrid's interest. Me? I haven't won anything here yet, just the Community Shield. That's not enough. I haven't done anything to feel like I should leave. I want to win trophies here. A lot of them. This level of honesty is rare and refreshing. Saliba's hunger reflects the mood of the squad and the expectations of the fans. And it's a mindset that manager Mikel Arteta deeply values. It's great news for the club, Arteta said of the contract extension. Willie deserves this. His impact on the team has been phenomenal. We're building something special, and he's a key part of that foundation. Saliba also confirmed he's now fully recovered from the ankle injury that briefly interrupted his season. As Arsenal prepares for their Champions League clash against Olympiacos, he's clear about what needs to happen next. The club's long trophy drought has to end. I've been here for 3 years, and every time we finish second, it stings, he admitted. You go on vacation, but you're not really celebrating. You're thinking about what could have been. It doesn't feel right. Saliba's frustration isn't only about missed trophies. His path to becoming a starter at Arsenal wasn't smooth. After signing from Saint-Étienne in 2019, he spent the better part of 2 years on loan, including a spell at Nice that, at the time, left him questioning everything. When I arrived in 2020, I didn't play for 6 months. Then I was loaned out. Of course, I had doubts. I wondered if I'd ever play for this club, he said. But I told myself I couldn't leave without trying. Even when I was training with the under-21s, I kept working. When they told me in December it was best to go on loan, I was angry. I needed to play. But I never gave up. I went, I played, I came back, and I proved I could start. I'm proud of that. It shows you should never quit. That resilience, the refusal to walk away even when the odds were stacked against him, has shaped the player and the man Saliba is today. It's also what makes his connection to the club feel so personal. His love for Arsenal started long before he ever wore the shirt. Growing up in France, it was Thierry Henry, a club legend and Saliba's childhood hero, who made Arsenal feel like home, even from afar. "My first Arsenal jersey had Henry on the back," he recalled. "He was incredible to watch. Being French and seeing someone like him at a club like Arsenal, it inspired me. I was young, but I remember watching clips, especially that Champions League final in 2006 against Barcelona. That stayed with me." Now, Saliba isn't just wearing the same colours as his idol, he's trying to carry on that legacy. His admiration for Henry became motivation. His loyalty to Arsenal is about more than a contract. It's about identity, pride, and ambition. Despite heavy links to top European clubs, including Real Madrid, Saliba insists he never seriously considered leaving. "To be honest, I wasn't really focused on the outside interest," he said. "I was focused on staying here. I knew I wanted to be part of this project for years to come. So I'm happy. I'm proud to sign a new contract and keep going." And he's not the only one feeling the pressure to deliver. Mikel Arteta knows that expectations have changed. "From the moment I took the job, I knew I wanted to win big trophies here," Arteta said. "That's the standard. That's the ambition. No one needs to remind us of that. It's what we expect from ourselves. Excuses have never been part of my mindset." As Arsenal prepares for another shot at glory, both domestically and in Europe, Saliba stands at the heart of it all, stronger, more determined, and more connected than ever to the club he now proudly calls home. Saliba's commitment arrives at a crucial time for Arsenal. After back-to-back seasons of falling just short in the Premier League title race, the pressure to finally convert progress into silverware is at an all-time high. His decision to stay signals not just belief in the project, but also a call for accountability, both from himself and his teammates. Inside the dressing room, his words have reportedly resonated. According to sources close to the squad, Saliba has emerged as a growing leader, not just through his performances, but in how he's approached the off-season, rehab, and now the new campaign. For a player still only 24 years old, it's a sign of maturity and ambition. The timing of his comments, ahead of a critical Champions League group stage opener, only heightens their impact. Arsenal's return to Europe's top competition last season ended in disappointment, exiting in the quarter-finals. Now, with a more seasoned squad and a stronger defensive core, there's an expectation that they'll go further. For Saliba, that means not only defending with discipline, but setting a tone of seriousness and hunger from the backline forward. Outside the club, his decision to reject Real Madrid has stirred conversation in both England and Spain. Some pundits have framed it as a rare example of a top young talent turning down the allure of Madrid in favour of loyalty and unfinished work. Others see it as a signal that Arsenal, once again, is a destination club, capable of retaining elite talent in their prime, not just developing it. That kind of perception shift matters, particularly as the Gunners continue to compete for high-profile signings and work to maintain the progress made under Mikel Arteta. In many ways, Saliba's choice reinforces the club's vision, a young, competitive core built for sustained success, not short-term fixes. Still, questions remain. Can Arsenal handle the pressure of being favourites? Can they manage the physical and mental demands of chasing a title across multiple fronts? And how much longer will players like Saliba remain patient if the club doesn't deliver the trophies they now publicly crave? For Saliba, at least, the answer is simple. He's staying because he believes it can happen, and that it should happen. "I came back, and I've started almost every game since. I've seen the growth of this team up close. I know what we're capable of," he said. "But we have to prove it. Talking isn't enough." As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on how Saliba and Arsenal respond to that challenge. For now, though, the message is clear. The club's defensive anchor is not just here to stay, he's here to win.